It's September and you're standing in your garden. The air is crisp, the leaves are starting to turn, and your hands are practically itching to grab the pruning shears. It feels like the perfect time to tidy up the rose beds, get them ready for winter, doesn't it? Well, think again. That very well-intentioned act could actually be a death sentence for your roses. Today, we're going to uncover the biggest mistake that will kill your rose garden. And I promise, you'll never look at autumn rose, care the same way again. For decades, gardeners have debated the optimal time for pruning roses. Common sense often dictates, remove all dead or excess growth in the fall, so the plant wakes up clean and ready for new growth in spring. This idea has become so deeply ingrained in gardeners' minds that it's practically gospel. But nature operates by its own rules, not by our logic. A rose is a living organism with its own cycle. And in autumn, it's preparing not for a trim, but for dormancy. By interfering with this natural process, we trigger a chain reaction that can lead to disaster. So, let's dive a bit deeper. What's the main danger of fall pruning? Imagine this. For a rose, every snip of your pruners isn't just a cosmetic trim. It's a loud alarm bell. The plant doesn't check the calendar. It senses damage. And its sole instinctive reaction is to grow. The rose thinks spring has arrived, or perhaps it's under attack from a pest. It mobilizes all its energy, all the nutrients it stored up over the summer, and channels them into creating new shoots. And there they are, tender, pale green, full of sap. What could be wrong with that, you might ask? The problem is, these shoots are completely defenseless against winter. They simply don't have time to mature, to harden off, to develop a protective bark. They're like raw recruits sent to war without training or armour. Then comes the first serious night frost. The water in the cells of these young shoots turns into ice crystals. These crystals, like thousands of microscopic blades, tear the delicate tissues from the inside out. In the morning, you'll see blackened, drooping branches. But that's not even the worst part. The spot where a young shoot died becomes an open wound on the healthy, older stem. This is an open invitation for infections, fungi, and rot, which will gladly take hold in the weakened plant and continue to destroy it all winter long. So, your fall pruning didn't just provoke new growth. It inadvertently created the perfect conditions for the entire bush to die. Alright, you might be thinking, I get the big, radical pruning part. But what about the little things? What if I just want to deadhead spent blooms to keep the bush looking tidy? Well, here's where another pitfall lies. Even simply snipping off a spent bloom sends a signal to the nearest bud, located in the leaf axil. That bud thinks its time has come and might start to sprout. While it's not as strong an impulse as cutting an entire cane heading into winter, even a tiny, unnecessary new shoot drains the plant's precious energy. But what about sanitary pruning, you might ask? Removing diseased or broken branches? Yes, that's something you absolutely can and should do at any time of year. However, in autumn, every cut must be made with extreme caution and always treated with a pruning sealant or specialised wound dressing. This prevents the open wound from becoming an entry point for disease. Striving for that tidy look on your bush, though, is actually doing more harm than good. The foliage left on the canes and even the uncleared petals all create an additional layer of insulation. This natural buffer helps protect the rose's most vulnerable spot, its root crown, from sudden temperature fluctuations and biting winds. By removing all this excess material in the name of beauty, you're essentially stripping your rose bare before the frost hit, robbing it of its natural protection. Let's tackle another common and dangerous myth. It goes something like this. The more severely I prune my roses in autumn, the easier their winter will be. The reasoning seems foolproof. Fewer branches mean less moisture evaporation, a reduced risk of frost damage, and a compact plant is certainly easier to cover. However, nature operates on a completely different principle. Imagine shoots and leaves not just as mere branches, but as vital storage units. Throughout the summer, your rose has been diligently accumulating essential nutrients within them, sugars, starches, and other compounds. These are its strategic reserves for the long, cold winter ahead. As the weather turns cold, these substances slowly migrate from the shoots down to the roots, nourishing and strengthening them. When you take your pruners and cut off half a shoot, you are literally discarding half of its crucial winter provisions. You're robbing the plant of the vital energy it desperately needs to withstand the harsh frosts and make a strong start in spring. The more healthy, mature wood and foliage you leave on your rose for winter, the greater its chances of successful overwintering. A short autumn trim is not a help. It's effectively a robbery of your plant. You are stripping it of its most valuable resources at the most critical time. And now, for the most crucial, game-changing moment that should forever alter your approach to autumn pruning. Imagine this scenario. You're lovingly and meticulously pruning your rose in September, genuinely believing you're helping it. You remove excess branches, shaping it into a beautiful bush. The rose, sensing this signal, expends the last of its summer-stored energy, pushing out delicate, light green shoots. They're such a delight to the eye, but this is an illusion. These aren't shoots of life. They are shoots destined for death. When the first serious frost hits, these children of autumn will be the first to perish. But that's not even the worst part. As they die, they become a direct bridge, allowing frost and infection to penetrate deeper into the healthy, mature stems of the plant. You, intending to help, have inadvertently opened the gates to the demise of the entire plant. It's a classic case of good intentions paving the road to garden hell. Your well-intentioned care, in this instance, turns into a betrayal of the trusting flower. So the main takeaway is simple. No drastic pruning for roses in September and October. Your primary goal is to help your rose go dormant, not awaken it. Mulch the root system, ensure protection from icy winds, but put your pruners away until spring. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. I truly hope this information saves many a beautiful rose garden from ruin. If you found this content helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other gardening secrets. And now, a question for you. What's your experience with autumn rose care? Have you perhaps made this mistake, or do you have your own special tricks for preparing your roses for winter? Share your story in the comments below. Let's discuss.